Todd, can you hear
Hi,
me?
Bill. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Good to see you.
Well, it's good to see you. Hopefully you can see me. My lighting is I'm having trouble with my studio lighting. I just have this little ring light in front of me, so I might
Well,
just look like a face appearing out of the dark.
yeah, I'm so glad we connected. It's always good to hear other people having problems with technology and things
Right?
like that, because I almost always get worked when it comes to technology. And I was thinking, how is this Zoom meeting going to go? So hopefully I'm recording and I'm doing well, and it'll come off without too many, you know.
Oh yeah, it says it's recording. See what happens.
Yeah, I guess.
Throw caution to the wind and just see.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad you took
Everything.
time out of your day to join me, to try to give us a little bit of an update on what you're doing as far as, especially the educational wing of what you do as far as, coaching as a VO career coach and, just helping the VO talent out there. You've been doing that for a long time. And then I was hoping we could talk just a little bit about what my sons and I are doing and your involvement in VO Marketing Pro. So if that's
Very
a
exciting stuff.
yeah, yeah. So maybe I just was thinking that, I think a lot of people know you. I'm not sure they know me that well. And so I guess I just thought maybe it might be kind of interesting a little bit to just give a little background on our, relationship, to give it a little context. I know that, I've been in broadcasting for 30 years and thought, it's finally time to have my voiceover career that I've always wanted. And so in August 2011, I launched my career thinking that it was going to be, seamless. I was behind a microphone for 30 years. I knew how to talk, I
How
knew how
hard
to
could it be,
communicate.
right?
Yeah, exactly. How hard can this be? And I found that it was not so seamless, especially, when you have radio, you go to a station and you have people to talk to. But all of a sudden, you've got to try to sell your voice and you've got to get in front of people. And I didn't know who, to do that with. And so I started looking around the internet and found your very early YouTube videos. And what I found right away, Bill, and I've told you this before, is I found somebody that I could relate to, somebody that I thought was sincere, genuine, and most importantly, had some good, just common sense business and marketing, principles. And so, I started watching and kind of gobbling that up. And lo and behold, a lot of the things that you said that I put into practice worked. How about that? And yeah, and
So
so
thought.
I've been following you and joined, the Deweese group as a charter member, and been watching your stuff and just been benefiting from it. So I guess that's the context. Thank you for, what you've done and continue, to do for the voiceover, family and community.
Oh, well, no, thank you. I appreciate that. It's been an interesting journey, and our paths have been so similar. It's been fun to stay in touch and to which you've always made a point of doing, which I always thought was so cool. I mean, I could expect at least once a year to get a card, a postcard, a Christmas card, or something from Todd Barsness, updating, and not only just to say hi or happy holidays or whatever the case, whatever it was, but to let me know how your business was doing. And it was interesting because the voiceover playbook was the program that it was like the very first program that I created. And it's actually still, for me, it's the blueprint of what I follow for marketing. I mean,
Yeah.
new platforms have emerged and such, but in terms of the principles and the core, strategies, it's what I continue to do. It was so fun to see somebody, because most people that I'm that kind of person too. I'll just take it and run. But to this year, I mean, this year, this much, this
Yep.
year, and it was like, whoa,
Yep.
look at Todd, go Todd, go. And it was so fun to follow. So thanks for doing all of that.
Yeah. Well, it's been great, keeping up with you. And of course, I feel like I know you better than you know me because I watch you all the time, your live stream and things like that. So it's always good to kind of connect and tell you a little bit about what's going on in my life and my career and such. But you have a background in communications, radio, also being a professor, and so this is something that you do very well. This communication, this teaching. And I was checking, you have a YouTube presence. You probably don't even keep track of it. Maybe you have over 45,000 subscribers and over 700 videos on YouTube. Do you keep track of that, or is that a little bit news to you?
I was just told that the other day. I really don't, or I didn't until recently, and I asked somebody who helps me with that now, managing it, because I was just making videos and throwing them up there with no real. I mean, it was to share the information, but no specifics. So I found somebody who really understands the platform and helps me a lot with the editing now and how I do the videos and how I promote the videos. And it's grown quick. Yeah, it's grown quickly. And I was eating yesterday, and I was told, I think it's now 46,000 maybe.
Okay.
Maybe I'm, well, it's even number, but 700 videos. It's hard to believe that I've recorded. I've got just too much time on my hands, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's probably not true, but you have done a lot, and it just kind of grows, exponentially as you do it more and more and more, and so it's you also, Bill, have a kind of an, I call it an educational wing. You talked about you have a blueprint now, which has students in it, and
yeah,
tell us a little bit about that.
Well, just to kind of set that up, if I may, when I got into, I really had no plans ever to be in education. That was not part of my career plan, and I'd been in radio for quite a while, and I always loved. I was usually in a management, like program director. I was spent most of my years up to that point, and so I was developing talent, and I always felt that I connected well with talent, and they seemed to seek me out for help, and I enjoyed those relationships. And I was recruited to go to, a small private university in the Chicago area in 1991, and I did. And it was interesting because they had a campus operation, a campus station, but they had this 35,000 watt FM station that covered pretty much all Chicago and Northwest Indiana. And so what we did was, I always liken it to a university hospital type of scenario, where you've got a real hospital treating real patients, but you also have students who follow around and are mentored by professionals. So that was the model we created. We had a professional staff, but the students who were, studying communications and broadcasting could be mentored by those of us who were in that staff. And so we competed. I mean, we were, a widely listened to radio station. We had, a large audience, and were involved in major events, all of that kind of stuff. So I love that model. And so when I got into voiceover, in all honesty, Todd, it was never my intent to coach or teach. I figured those days were done. It was all, growing, what it's like growing a business. It requires a lot of energy. And that was my focus. But over time, people began to reach out to me, and I'm not even sure how. I didn't have a YouTube channel, so I don't even know how they knew about me. Actually, I do know. My local newspaper they did an article on me, and they came in. I was in my bedroom closet. That's where I was working. They took a picture of me sitting in the closet, surrounded by clothes, and I remember getting a phone call from somebody in Kansas City. And this is just a little local paper, so who knows how these things work. But people began to reach out. And before long, I thought, well, I need to do something. So I did. And long story short, we created the model we used was somewhat similar to what I was doing back in my academic days, in that I wanted a setting where it wasn't just me telling you what to do and how to do it. But there is that aspect. There's the curriculum, but there's also live interaction. We have, there's almost one live webinar coaching thing per day, nearly 30 a month. I mean, one day it might be marketing, the next day it might be performance. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff. And so we get together that way. And then there's the community aspect, which we have a private group where, the students can communicate back and forth. And then on top of that is, as you mentioned, as I work, when I can't, obviously I'm under non-disclosure for a lot of things that I do. But otherwise, the camera's on. So you can watch me if I'm doing a live session with a client, or auditioning, or editing, or communicating, all of those things. And so that we call the voiceover blueprint. And the purpose was to give a comprehensive, holistic approach to increase the chances of success for those participating.
Yeah, and I just commented on one of your videos when you were live streaming yesterday, and just said how, wonderful it is to have somebody there. You're just like this voiceover friend that I can tune into. I don't have a lot of
I
time.
appreciated that comment.
Yeah, but it is. I mean, it's like, hey, I'll just, turn on Bill here. I need a little encouragement, need to hear what he's doing. Sometimes you share your struggles, and it's just kind of real live, video there. It's raw. It's
It can be encouraging to see other people struggle. I mean, and I mean it in all
yeah,
sincerity. I mean,
yeah,
because I think sometimes there's an illusion between the teacher student. They think the teacher doesn't struggle, and that's
yeah,
not. I mean, that's part of the gig. You
yeah,
have to struggle.
yeah, yeah. And so you told us about all those things. You also have some new things in the works. Like for instance, something fairly new. Aaron Bradley is doing a what is it? A TV network
TV promo. Yeah.
Yeah. And are there any other new things that you can maybe tease a little bit? Some things coming up,
Yeah.
or is that secret?
No. Thank you, and thanks for bringing that up. It's interesting, because this thing I'm doing with the training has continued to evolve, over the years. And so the blueprint is the core of everything. But I also have kind of this satellite thing happening, and that's where I will partner with experts in their particular areas of voiceover,
Yeah.
and they have begun offering classes. And it started with Aaron Bradley, who's one of the top TV affiliate voices, and he's out in Los Angeles. But I hear him every day. Here, I'm in the Cincinnati area on Local 12, the CBS affiliate, and he does a number of stations around the country. So we started with him. We did a 4-week class, and then it went so well. We packed that class out that we decided well, what can we do next? We did a class with my daughter Mallory, who has achieved great voiceover success, primarily using Fiverr. And so we did that class. We had, I think it was over 1,000 students in that particular class. It was just wildly successful. And then we just finished up this week a class with actually a former student of mine back when I was teaching years ago by the name of Tom Parks. Now, Tom was an adult student when he came. He wasn't a traditional undergrad. He was already out in the world. I think he was like 26 years old or so, when he started. But we developed a relationship, and he helped me out a lot during those days at the radio station. Long story short, he got into audiobooks and has now recorded over 600 audiobooks.
Wow.
He's also a producer, for Audible, and he produces all of the Danielle Steele books, as a matter of fact, and did a 5-week session with him. And we're coming back around where, because of the demand for Aaron Bradley's TV affiliate class, TV promo affiliate class, we'll be doing that again next, and looking to do other things down the road that we haven't confirmed yet. But yeah, thanks for asking about that, because it's really exciting. It's like bringing on faculty, to teach very specific areas of expertise.
Yeah. I mean, you guys just put out tons of material. Like you said, I mean, there's just something almost every day of the week, which is wonderful to be able to have access to that. That was not available, when I first clicked on your YouTube videos, and it's meeting a need. I know it is. And I think it'll continue to, as I'm sure you're planning on more growth and more opportunities.
Well, as long as people need help and are willing to, as long as they find it helpful, I'm glad to keep providing it.
Yeah. I want to talk just for a few more minutes. I don't want to take a lot more of your time, but I want to talk just for a few minutes about the business that I started with my sons called VO Marketing Pro. And you're a part of that. And I want to get to that in just a moment. But I wanted to just explain a little bit about how that, came to be. And then we can talk a little bit about your involvement, if that's possible, for the rest of our few minutes together. Bill, a lot of the marketing principles in VOMP, how we built that, were Bill DeWeese principles. I think you probably would know that. My kids came to me a couple of years ago and said, "Hey, Dad, if you get run over by a bus, your business is over. Is there anything in your business model that we can reproduce?" And at that point, being 10 years in, we had produced over 18,000 global database of video production companies, ad agencies, voice rosters that I was using with my assistant. And my oldest son, John, said, hey, why don't we use that and market to other VO talent? Well, we had never heard of that. So it was kind of brand new. And it's really only a year old. But we have about 25 clients right now, yourself included. And what we do is we send out direct email marketing messages, short, pithy, informational things with a link or a demo to video production companies and such. And we have some different levels, and I won't go into all the details, but just a brief overview. We have a starter kit now, which is just for people that are starting out and want to get out there doing some direct email marketing. You can choose 25 a month, 50 a month, 75, 100. Then we have what's called the a la carte, which is you can either choose 100 emails a month and 1 update per year, or 200 emails a month and 2 updates a year to stay in front of those people that you've already sent emails to. And then we have what's called the total care, which really replicates as close as we can to what my assistant Andy does for me. And that's what you have, joined VOMP with. And you signed up for VO Marketing Pro maybe, 4 or 5 months ago. I guess I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. Why did you do that? I mean, what were the reasons? You've always been doing direct email marketing. It had something to do with Mallory and her change. You mentioned that earlier, right?
Yeah. And if let me give a little backstory, I think will kind of make the picture very clear to people. There's a problem and there's a solution. And the problem, first of all, the direct marketing, in my opinion, can and probably should be the core of marketing for people they got their pro demo, they've got their training, they're ready to go out there and make it happen. The problem is most people are terrified to do it. And a big part, as you know, and what I did and what you did in building your business to a large extent was just really grinding it out through emails and telephone calls. And I don't know anybody who likes to do cold calls. In other words, calling somebody they don't know and trying to introduce themselves and create an opportunity for business. I'm an introvert by nature. It's not my nature. I don't like to do those things, but I realized at an early age, like when I was 18, I realized that was a skill I needed to force myself to learn. And long story short, I ended up selling books one summer to put myself through college. And I literally knocked on doors by myself in a place far away from my home, 13 and a half hours a day, 6 days a week for an entire summer. It was the worst experience of my life, but it was the best experience of my life because it changed the trajectory of my life. It empowered me to do things that I wasn't comfortable doing, but I knew worked. So that's to kind of, to give you a little bit of the background on it. So when I got into voiceover, I knew that I needed to do that. But as I taught it, most people, I got a lot of pushback. Now, you're one of the few folks who really embraced it and ran with it, and you saw great results. Most people are just, they'll do anything but that.
Yeah.
A lot of people would rather die than do that. I mean, they just don't want to do that. So the solution is having a voiceover marketing pro who says, hey, we'll take care of that part for you. That's amazing. Now, that's not the reason I came to you, because, I've been doing a lot of direct marketing myself, but there comes a time, and I've heard you say something, and it is so true. And hopefully I'll say it right. If not, you can correct me, but it is, you either have more time or you have more money. And if you have more money than time, then you should use your money to leverage what you want to do. But if you have more time, then use your time, do it yourself.
Right.
But in my case, between my voiceover work, which I keep a very busy schedule now, granted, COVID has had a negative impact on my business, as it has many businesses. I mean, I'm not out of business. It's not a problem. It's just not as much as I'm accustomed to making. Sure. But now it's on the, it's on the upswing. But that being said, I'm still busy. My daughter Mallory has been assisting me for like a dozen years now. But now she's got her own successful career in voiceover, and so she still helps me out. But the hours aren't nearly as much as she used to. So, and plus the voiceover training is a big chunk of my time. So how do I get the work done? That's the question. Well, I'd used a service, started a long time ago called Happy Grasshopper,
Yeah.
which is really they're geared toward real estate professionals. That's really what the main thing they do. And I had used them. The messages weren't really geared specifically for voiceover type clients. And frankly, I didn't have the time or inclination to go in and do the editing and all of that stuff. So I just kind of let that go. It helped some, but I knew it wasn't as effective as it could be. Well, along comes Joe Barsness and his sons and Voiceover Marketing Pro, VOMP. And you guys took that and put it on steroids, targeted directly to voiceover clients.
Yeah.
And my gosh, just have you guys do that. I mean, it's been a godsend. And I told Joe, sign me up for your highest level, whatever it costs, put me in there. I'll take the highest level. And it's great because I mean, you guys are so thorough and meticulous in the work, and also the writing is so good, and the responses that I tell everybody this now. There's hardly a day that goes by that I'm not getting a response from your emails. Now that doesn't mean everybody's is hiring me. I mean,
Yeah.
For those of us who've done this for a while, you understand there's a process called the sales funnel, and the idea is you put a lot out there into the marketing, in your marketing, and you'll get some response back. But then you have to nurture those people through this funnel, and a few drop out the bottom, who become clients, and some, regular great clients. So we're in that process. And but again, just yesterday, I was responding to somebody else who had responded because of work that you guys are doing. So we're building momentum, and I'm really excited about it. And you guys do it so very well, with such great detail and love and care, which is the way it should be done. And so, I mean, I could not be happier.
Well, that's great to hear. And I know in one of your live streams yesterday that I happened to be joining, you were doing a custom audition for somebody that Joe had talked with you about, that had been a direct email, or one of our voiceover roster people. We have a voiceover roster on our website, vomarketingpro.com. And did you, I don't know, did you find out anything?
Well, not yet, because I just submitted the audition yesterday.
Yeah.
But it was cool because, and I got the impression, because of the way the client communicated. Usually, if they're sending it out to a bunch of people, you're not going to get a personal response back. But if you're the only person or one of a few, they'll take the time to respond, and they took the time to respond to me personally. So I'm really hopeful about that. But they wanted a quote, and so they actually didn't even ask for an audition. They asked for a quote, but they provided the script so I could see it. And one of the things I said during that live stream, because I learned this the hard way, is never, ever pass up an opportunity to provide a sample read. Because early in my career, I had a client once who contacted me as a follow-up. They had narrowed their selection to two people, me and another guy. And they said the other guy submitted a recording. I didn't. And I thought, I will never let that happen again.
Yeah.
So I recorded a sample as well as a quote.
Yeah, those are those live and learn things that I appreciate, again, about the kind of the raw, here's Bill DeWeese doing it. And sometimes you have technical difficulties. Sometimes you have bad clients, which all of us do. Sometimes you flub up. Sometimes you make mistakes. It's just that live streaming thing is really great, along with all of the other stuff that you do.
And I tell people, I've embarrassed myself more times than you could possibly count. Everybody's so terrified they're going to make a mistake. And it's like, believe me, I've made that mistake and many more over and over again. So the thing is, clients want you to succeed. When somebody hires you, they hired you because they like you. They like what you do. You don't have to prove anything. So you do your business, do your thing, keep reaching out, do the auditions. Somebody's going to hire you. And when they do, you're going to love it. It's a great business to be in. I love this work.
Yeah, it is. Well, thanks again. I won't take any more of your time unless you have something, that you'd like to speak to, something to say. I'll leave the last word with you, and then we'll close up here.
Well, and let me just say, and I know you're trying to be careful not to be overly promotional and make this more informational, which I respect and appreciate. But let me just say it for you. For those of you guys, you're at a place now where you've got a little bit of traction, you've got your demos, and you're really ready. You're trying to market yourself, and you're finding it difficult, or maybe just extremely uncomfortable. And that the marketing is the thing that's holding you back. I really strongly encourage you to go to vomarketingpro.com and or talk with Todd or and his sons and find out what they're doing, because man, to have somebody like that on your team, this nothing like this has existed before in history for voiceover talent. I mean, seriously, nothing like
Yeah.
this. Because believe me, if it had been there, I'd have used it a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
There has been nothing like this before. It is opening, creating opportunities that would be really hard to create otherwise. And that's what, you got to find people who are experts in the areas where you want to succeed and move forward, because we can't do everything super well. And these guys do marketing super well. So I just wanted to make sure I said that.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot. This last year, out of my $330,000 that I made, 215,000 was direct email marketing. And my sons, of course, have grown up in a voiceover home now for the last almost 12 years. And so they really wanted to do this together. We've got a lot of farm hands, if you will, 6 young men who like doing it. They bend over backwards for our clients. They like I said, I think at one of your webinars, we have kind of a bleeding heart. We really want people to do well. And so, we bend over backwards to help people. And I know we have, a service and a product that will help people. So thank you for those words. I appreciate that a lot.
Well, I appreciate you and your sons and what you're doing. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Bill, for your time. I know you've got a lot of things to do. You got the education, you got the voiceover, you're moving again from.
Don't remind me of that again.
Sorry to bring it up.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, Bill. And we're having a little bit of internet problems, so I'm going to let you go and you can get back to your duties for today, and I'll get back to mine. So thanks again, and we'll talk to you real soon. Yeah.
Thanks again, Todd. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Yep. Take care.
All right. We'll see you.
Okay. Bye-bye.